interesting set of photographs. You know, she spent, I think, a couple of days in a hotel room in Beverly Hills, Bel Air Hotel in LA with this photographer. And, you know, so 6/21/62. And it's a really fascinating set of photographs. And this is sort of the first time it gets more graphic, you know, kind of a little bit more uncensored. What's really interesting about this is sort of this image and the cover. So it's a contact sheet. You know, so the photographers create contact sheets so they can see the photographs that they're on there. And they always, like, you know, cross out the photographs that they're not interested in, like bad shots. You only see them after they're developed. And you find photos, good photos, you can kind of circle those photos, and sometimes they mark like the cropping, and then they use that. Like, it's process. So they're running this process, sort of images, the negative, because the photographer didn't X these out. Marilyn herself X'd these out. So she went through the context, you know, and marked out the photos that she wasn't interested in. So she's kind of self-censoring herself. And then they're running these photographs, like with, you know, the image of her. So it's not just a photo of her; it's also her reacting to the photo of herself. By running it, you know, she's dead, so she can't say not to run it. But it's such a bigger story. You know, it's a much bigger narrative that this creates than just the photos. Like, they're beautiful photos, but you can, like, pick out the really nice photos and print them large and call it a day. This is a story. This is something that has more context to it. There's a much richer narrative that exists within this. So, again, ending the piece. Lots more stuff. You know, some Victorian nudie photos that came from Ginsberg's collection. Another paper stock. So this probably has 4 different paper stocks, and sometimes they're mid-signature. It's very difficult. Like, if you're going to print on certain stock, it has to be a signature. There has to be about 16 pages that can be fit together, because for, like, images, the pages nest, and then you assemble these things. To change paper, like, for one page, you know, it connects to another page, is incredibly difficult and not necessary to do, but they do it because it has effect. You know, he needs it to happen that way. This was the last issue. This is the 4th issue. Is the big article here in the front of it is Love in the Bible. Again, very conservative 60s. You know, there's a lot of church material, and the thing about this issue, which was probably, there's an article here, is Shakespeare homosexual. Like, the articles in these 4 issues are really incredible. Like, most of them were only published here in this magazine. They don't live anywhere else. Some really interesting people, and these are not hard to find. Of all the LaBallon material, of all the stuff in the 60s, kind of, you know, this is not radical, but it's quite radical for what it was. These are pretty easy to find. I've seen magazine, pristine copies of this for $10, $20. They sort of just kind of fell through the cracks. If you're interested in them, seek them out. There was a lot of them, and, you know, this is from '62. They're in perfect condition. The paper, the printing was so expensive that these things last a long, long time. This was probably...
We're going to be outbidding each other.
Yes.
Next week, should go back.
Learn each other's eBay usernames. We're going together and outbid someone else. Libraries also have these, you know, occasionally. Some libraries, especially visual arts colleges, have these. You know, so just look at them, see if you know. They're really worth investigating. You know, and kind of glossing over, putting a lot more of the time. But there's more, obviously. This is black and white and color. This is an article. Another